everyone, it's Jen Thoden, and I have a very special guest on the show today. Her name is Julie Harbour, and she is the owner of stylishparadox.com. She helps women create an ageless, confident look and persona as they move into their golden years. Now, this lady has some amazing style. So when you see her, you're already just going to love her, because this is her running around in errands in her car and she still looks amazing. So she's just fabulous. And I just really dig her overall vibe and style. I just think that she is so much fun. On her site, she says she empowers and inspires women to be authentic, bold, and unapologetically the best versions of themselves. And I absolutely love that. And when she starts to share her story and what her site is all about, you're totally going to get that. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to her, because she just owns her age beautifully, and she has her own style and an authenticity that shines through. It's just really, really inspiring. So Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for having me. And first off, I want to say I read up on you, and I also watched your YouTube video, and I'm very inspired by you. It's funny that we have some similarities in our background, because I was married 16 years in my first marriage, and you were married 16 years in your first marriage. So I just found that interesting, and I love just hearing other people's stories, and I'm empowered by women who are in midlife that totally reinvent themselves, because that's how I started.
I love that word, reinvention. You know, it sounds so cliche, but it is absolutely true. It's that you get to a new definition in your life, and it doesn't have to be divorce. It could just be something that's significantly different. Like it could be empty nest, a new relationship, right? And I think reinvention, you can also say redefinition if you want, but I think it's necessary.
It definitely is. It definitely is. So just to tell you a little bit how I got started, and just to backtrack a bit, I was married. I've been married twice. I'm in my second marriage now. Second time is the best time, I'll say that.
It really is.
But in my first marriage, I was married 16 years, and I ended up divorcing again at year 16, and I had, a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old. And fortunately for me, I ended up getting in a relationship really quickly, and married a man who loved my children just as much as I do. And so he kind of helped me in raising them in the second half of their life. But I was very engaged with raising my children in my first marriage. I didn't have the opportunity to do anything for myself. Everything was about my kids. And then when I got married again, it was basically about ensuring that they launched properly and they were able to be successful and get through college. So I didn't do anything for myself until my last kid, my daughter, was in her last year of undergrad in college. So I've always loved fashion. It's always been like second nature for me. I'm the type of person that can just go to my closet. I'll pull some things out, not really even thinking about color coordination, but when I'm done, everything matches. It's just weird. That's just the way it is. So anyway, I was sitting at a table with a group of my girlfriends. My youngest she called me and told me she wasn't coming back home. And so I was a little bit sad and was basically dealing with the empty nest. So my girlfriends, who were very empowering, were basically like, what are you waiting on? You should be doing something in the fashion field. And so at the time, I really wasn't, I was on Instagram, but I wasn't really doing a whole lot with my page. It was more, a personal thing, just family and that kind of thing. But I knew that I could be a good personal stylist. So that's how I started out. I started styling women. My first client was my very best friend, who now is a CDO for an organization, but I started out helping women who are in business who wanted to kind of spice up their relationship, their wardrobe. Um, yeah,
That too.
so that's how I got started, and then it just kind of spiraled into the whole Instagram thing. I love photographs. I started taking pictures, and it just blossomed into this whole thing. And my mantra basically is that it's never too late to embark on something you'd like to do in life.
God, that is so true. I feel like sometimes women get to a certain age, and I think it's different for everyone, where they do finally have that shift in their life where they know that they kind of wish they were doing something else now, and they hold themselves back because they feel like it's too late. I'm already 60, so it's just too late. That's just silly. I'm not gonna do that. I'll just focus on my kids or whatever it is. And I feel like there's an opportunity for women to just give themselves permission to just do something different and really uncomfortable, and try something, because maybe they don't make another career. Maybe it's something that they uncovered that was a hidden joy that they didn't even know they had until they tried something different,
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Truly, even because I do have a blog, and
mhm.
even starting off with the blog, I've always been a person in school. I loved English, but I never really considered myself a writer.
Right.
And as I started to write, people that I respect started to say, "Man, you can write," and I'm like, "Oh, really? I can write? Okay." So, you learn these things, and it makes you want to get better,
Yes.
and just getting the feedback from people that you respect or people you don't even know, because there have been so many times where I said, maybe I should stop, or I'm not sure I want to do this. But I'll get a DM, or I'll get a message, something so inspiring from other women who are trying to launch a new business, or, they need a push or inspiration. They say, keep going. Like, we really love what you're doing. And that gives me the motivation to continue.
Isn't it interesting? And it works the same for me as well. Then anybody who's in business knows that there's still days that you just don't feel like doing your business. Like sometimes it does feel like a job, and not
Hmm.
always, definitely not. Otherwise we wouldn't do what we do. But man, it feels so good to know that you're doing something that inspires someone else, because for whatever the reason is, you're the voice that came through for them. And they could have looked at 20 other blogs and Instagram feeds, but it was your voice
Hmm.
and your face that made it through to them, that inspired them to do
Hmm.
something. And I think it's such a good feeling. It's amazing.
It really is. It really is, especially on those days where you really are really feeling, for lack of a better term, low.
Yeah. Yeah. I I think that's important to bring up. I mean, you on Instagram and you on your blog, it looks perfect, right? Like everything looks perfect. I mean, you're
Hmm.
styled and you're beautiful, and you're obviously you're showing off your styling talents and your look and and all that. And what people don't always recognize is that that's just one layer, and there's other sides, and even the most successful influencers out there have low days, days where we
Hmm.
don't we just throw on our sweatshirts and jeans and
Hmm.
ponytail it up and not give a crap.
Right, and you know what? Actually, there's been a lot of that, especially since this pandemic hit.
Oh, right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I've had to ask myself questions like, who do you dress for people, or do you
Yeah.
dress for yourself? Because there's been days when I've gotten up and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing much of anything.
Hmm.
Um, but I will say that when I get up and I get dressed and I put my red lipstick on,
I like it.
even even if I'm walking from my bedroom to the living room, it's it's a mood lifter. And then even speaking on color, which
Hmm.
you're an expert at, color it does so much for me in terms of lifting my mood. And I've even done studies on color and how it lifts the mood.
Yeah.
So
You're
that's
so right.
wonderful.
I mean, it's something so simple, but if you, it's you could choose to wear your gray sweatshirt or t-shirt and whatever bottoms, if you choose to wear pants, I don't judge.
Hmm.
And but you look in the mirror and all you see is the gray and the undone, and that visual, it is really important. And it doesn't mean that you always have to look amazing, but I do agree with you. I feel like sometimes, especially to get yourself out of the funk, is to get up and pull yourself together, and that might get in the shower, pull on a color, put on some red lipstick if that's your thing, and just start to kind of pull yourself together a little bit. It makes a huge difference. And then, man, then you feel like doing something, because now you put some lipstick on and some clothes. Like maybe you go outside, go grocery
Right.
shopping. Can't do much these days, but you can do that.
Exactly. Exactly. And it motivates me to do much more.
Right.
Because outside of having this business, I also work
Okay.
10 hours a day, 4 days a week. So since I transitioned to another job,
Mm-hmm.
it's been even harder for me to get my passion, to get those things in during the day.
Yeah.
So, I would not be truthful if I wouldn't say that, the situation that we're in right now in terms of the world hasn't affected my mental health to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has made me not want to do as much. But let me I can say this, Jennifer, that over this since March, I've never been so busy and more blessed in terms of getting campaigns and business. It's been crazy.
I agree.
Crazy.
I don't know what the phenomena is, but I would totally agree with you. I mean, I was busy before. My business is completely online, so I'm so grateful that I wasn't dependent on like in-person service or something like that, or a shop. And I know some businesses are really hurting in that respect. But like, kind of like what you're saying, like it's sort of like everyone's home, so let's do some other stuff. And it's just been really, really busy. It's been really bizarre.
Yeah.
I think
It's
too, it's
been.
like you have an opportunity. Like I wish everyone who's listening to this really hears it. I mean, people keep saying it, but I really believe it. If the world is basically having you stand still, like it's an opportunity right now to do something, like for yourself, if anything, like pick something. Like I basically went into a binge of art supplies. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking down right now and there's like a lot of art supplies. But why not? I'm home all the time. It's super fun.
Yeah. And see, in the beginning of this thing, I would hear people say, oh, if you're not doing anything, basically kind of almost like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Like, you should be, doing something different to your home, becoming a plant mom, all these things. And I'm like, I don't feel like doing that.
Right.
Not right now.
Mm-mm.
And I had to give myself permission to say, it's okay. It's okay. You can take a break. You don't have to always be on go, go, go. And I think it's almost, people like to say the universe, or you say God. I say God, but things have just worked out in my favor, and I just feel like really, really blessed. I didn't ask for the work, but the work has come to me. And so I think when you put good out,
yep,
good comes back to you. And I try to be, every morning when I wake up, I ask God to help me to be an inspiration to other people in some type of form. And so that's how I live. I'm a quote junkie. I love great quotes. I don't make this stuff up because I'm not that deep. I don't have, but I love quotes. I mean, people say some beautiful things, and I love to share them with people, because when I express a certain quote or something, it's because I'm preaching to myself, is what I want to say. And then hopefully that can help someone else.
I think it's that whole spirit of being in service to others that really I feel can bring people to a different level of their self. I mean, often, especially in times of trauma, especially, even if your needs are met, right, you're able to stay employed or whatever. I feel like a lot of people when misunderstand the words looking inward and start to really focus on themselves, but in a more of a spirit of I need to take care of myself, which is, you should absolutely do. I would never say not to do that. But there's also a level of joy that happens, in my opinion, when you can also treat other people and serve other people in even the smallest way that you believe in. So for example, like your quotes, for example, like, I think it's a beautiful way to just share what you already believe that's already in you outward, and it's going to bring somebody else a moment of inspiration or of joy. And I think that's the best that we can ask of ourselves sometimes, is just, who can I serve and help and inspire today? And maybe it's one person, maybe it's 1,000 people, just on whatever given day. And it's a really good feeling. And I feel like for other people too that are kind of stuck and not knowing what to do with themselves, like sometimes it's looking out and saying, well, who can I help? How can I help them? How can I inspire? And it could just be as simple as putting a little Facebook post out there, just saying something nice to the world, like, or thanking God for all that you have at that moment,
Yeah,
I have my morning rituals too.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Those morning rituals can be interesting, because if I miss one in the morning, I feel off.
Yeah. Yeah. I am a big gratitude believer. I believe that is one of the highest emotional energies out there, in addition to love. And so I spend a good amount of time every single morning. I do gratitude journaling. It's just a habit. It's what I do. There are mornings where I'm already like thinking, I don't have time. I don't feel like doing this. I'm like, nope, it's important. It's important. I really feel like starting the day out with that positive energy, like you said, whatever you put out there, it comes back. It may not come back in a second, but it's like little seeds you put out there over and over again. And that good's going to come back. And and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, it's working.
It is. And confession, I'm the youngest of 6, right? I was born young, and I would say I was a little spoiled, and with that made me be a little stingy, right? And so as I got older, I would always hear from my first husband that I was spoiled. I hear from my current husband,
lovely,
that I was, spoiled. And again, I'll admit that I was stingy, but over the years, I started to see one of my very best friends is the most giving person ever. I mean, she just give. And I'm like, why is this woman never has a need in her life? Why is she always just blessed? Like,
right.
Stuff just comes to her. And so maybe like 5 years ago, I started to be really, really giving. And I just now it's just a part of who I am. And now it's like the fruition of all of that. Sometimes things have come to me this year, and I'm like, why am I getting this? Like, almost questioning, like, why? But I mean, we're all deserving. We're all deserving, I think, to a degree.
We are 100% deserving. That I think that many people don't even realize that when the gift is being sent to them, I think that their immediate reaction is that, oh, this must be a mistake. I don't I don't deserve this, and they deflect it, and that just basically shuts down that flow, right? And it's so funny. I'll give my daughter, she's 18, I'll give her a compliment. I'm like, oh my God, you look so cute. And I have trained her so well that instead of saying, oh, my hair is all icky, she always says, thank you. I'm like, that's right. Like, always
That is
receive it.
right.
Always receive it. Always. No matter what. I have to still train my
great.
husband, so he's not so good at it. I'm like, just say thank you. Just say thank you.
Thank you is good. She's learned well from her mother.
I know, right? It's like, if you can't, you got to be nice to yourself, right? And you got to tell yourself that yes, you do deserve it, and you do deserve the good things that are coming to you. And whatever it's in the past, that's in the past. Like right now, you are deserving. So if something good comes, you got to accept it with gratitude and open arms, and just be grateful that you have it. Don't go, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I'll go off my soapbox. Go ahead.
Okay. And another thing that I've learned and become since I started my own business is the power of women, and empowering women, and a community. Because I guess prior to this, I really had to step out of my comfort zone to try and develop relationships with new people. Yeah, I'm actually so excited about the fact that I've been able to become a part of a community of women in midlife, and some not midlife, that want to empower one another, help one another grow, help one another succeed. One woman I'm thinking of in particular, but there have been many. There's one lady that I've reached out to who has been doing, she's actually a blogger, but she's been doing it for 9 years. And she does it full time. And so one day I reached out to her because a brand had reached out to me about doing a campaign. And she, just empowered me and said, Julie, stand your ground, negotiate, make sure you ask for this. She said, ask for this. And so I asked for a little bit more, and the brand gave me what I wanted.
Amazing.
And when I called her back, she gave me, it was just having women that are rooting for you to succeed. It makes me feel good. And I hope it makes them, there are people that want you to succeed, other women that want you to succeed. Irregardless of what you hear about women not wanting to help each other, there are women out there that empower other women.
Yeah, I wrote it down earlier when you had said, your friends had encouraged you to do something that to do something for yourself now that your kids were grown. And what you're saying now, it resonates the same thing. Women need to find their tribe, right? Like, surround yourself with people that want you to succeed and help you to succeed and lift you up and level you up and take them with you. And there's just no point of being around people who don't like get jealous or want to hold you back or tell you that you can't do something. Like, if there's anyone and anyone's watching that, has someone in their life that's holding them back, like, you need to separate yourself from that person and go find the people that really support you, lift you up. Because I feel like that is like key to happiness and success, and anything we do is to have people that want you to be happy. They want you to.
It really is.
Yeah. And
it
for
really
you to have
is.
friends that do that for you, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so appreciative of it because I have had the other. I've had individuals who are in the same field, who just because I'm giving, they want to take,
right,
but they never want to give,
right.
or I've had people, I have relationships with people who are close to me that I'm not even really, I don't really even deal with them anymore.
Right.
Because of negativity, because of this.
Right.
And, I'm hurt because of it, but I've moved on.
I think it's that it doesn't necessarily even have to be, I've learned, because I'm the same, I agree, previous relationships, previous marriage, there's been a lot of things that we tolerate for so long that we don't even see it. We don't even realize that someone's holding us back. And for the first time, they're still good friends, but I distanced myself. But I had good friends while I was married. And when I announced, and I didn't tell them that I was thinking about divorcing or that we were having problems. I just didn't really share that with them, even though they were good friends. Because they were also good friends with my husband at the time. And it was just uncomfortable. So when I finally told them that I was leaving, that I was getting a divorce, instead of supporting me, and they thought they were being supportive, but the first words out of their mouths were, are you sure this is just not a 40 factor or a midlife crisis thing? And I just felt like, wow, okay, like, so I see where we are in the relationship. It's not bad, but at the same time, I didn't need that. I needed someone to be on my side, and not necessarily in like a consoling way, but just what do you need? What's going to make you happy? And the one person that I thought was going to be the worst person to tell was my mother, and she turned out to be the best person. She's like, well, are you happy? Are you happy? I didn't know you were unhappy. Are you happy? And I said, I'm going to be. And she goes, well, okay, then that's all that matters. And I'm like, what? Because I really thought it was going to be, I don't know, scolding or something. You never grow up, right? With our moms.
I'm sure that really made you feel good, because having your mom behind you is a good thing, because divorce is not easy. I've been through it. It was, unfortunately, my mom and dad had both passed. My mother had just passed. And it was rough. It was rough. But I made it through.
Yeah.
I made it through and found my night. Everybody's journey is different. But I found a great guy. Like, in 15 years later, almost 16. We're still going strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going on year 3. So
okay.
But
year 3. That's a good thing.
I find it's so interesting. I think there's a lot of people that get divorced at around that 15, 16 year mark. And I think I don't think it's coincidence. I think there's a certain age where the couple and the individuals either grow together and change together and acknowledge that things are changing and different and we need new things, or we just don't do it and we go our separate ways. And then when the next person that we meet that we know is going to be our next partner in life, I feel like we have a better sense of what we're looking for. It's that I'm looking for this, and I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. And so like you, like I adore my husband, and he's not the opposite. I won't say the opposite, but very different from my last relationship. Let's put it that way. So.
Yeah. My husband he lets me be me.
Yes.
And that's important. Yes. I met my first husband when I was very young. I was, 20, 21 24 when we got married, but I met him when I was 21. So, yeah, but there are all the lessons that I've had in my life have made me the person that I am today.
That's right.
And I will tell you, I've kind of calmed down a little bit since I started my business, but I felt so deprived, I'm going to say, of being myself for so long and having to sacrifice for other people, which is the way a lot of women are. You know, you give, and you don't take care of yourself or do enough for yourself. So once my business came around, nobody was stopping me. And I was like, if you get in my way, you're going to get mowed over. Calm down, because I've calmed down a little bit, because I was.
Oh no, but I get it. And and you know, if you've listened to my story, it's very similar in that, I finally was like, okay, now it's my time to do my thing. And I knew that I wanted to be completely open and transparent and authentic. I used to hide a lot of things because I didn't want the judgment. And so when I started to date Joe, who's now my husband, I remember thinking I was going to start this new business, which is now Your Color Style. It wasn't at the time, but I was going to start this new business. And I remember immediately not wanting to tell him. And because I didn't want an opinion. I didn't want a judgment. I didn't want someone to tell me, really, that's, you know. And so then I realized, no, wait, no, I'm going to tell him. And if he has a problem with it, well, then I know where I stand. And instead, I told him, I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this thing. It's colored. It's like a blog. And he's like, that's great. I'm like, no, really. Like, it, you know, it's like, you know, he's like, no, it's great. I'm like, really? He goes, why wouldn't I want you to do what you want to do? I was like, I
love it.
Man.
I love it. I love that. And that's important, and that's one thing I love about my age now, because when I was younger, and not to say that I don't care what people think to a certain degree, even at this point in my life, but there are so many things, like, I don't have time for it. Like, I don't have time, and even in the way that I dress, I've had friends say, oh, why do you have those shoes on? You know, in the past, I would have said, maybe took them, you know, gotten home, taken the shoes off and put them somewhere and didn't wear them. I don't care now. I'm going to be me.
Yes.
I'm going to be me. So if I feel like wearing a bright yellow dress with a polka dot scarf on with snakeskin tennis shoes on, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I love you so much. You are so great.
Yes, and it's like it or leave it, because I need to be me. And I encourage every other woman, be you.
Yes.
Be authentic. And in the beginning, I'm going to tell you, it was scary. It's scary to be authentic.
Yes.
Because if you know, are looking to grow your business and bring people in, you want people to like you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I see people, they won't show a picture of themselves without makeup or without a filter, or, you know, in their with a t-shirt cut off with their pajamas on. I don't care. I don't care, because I know for a fact that you, and I'm speaking to whoever influencers, you don't look like that every day.
That's right.
You don't wake up and look like that.
That's right.
So I want to know, I think it's okay for people to know, and that's what draws people to you, I think, is the fact that you're authentic, or sharing. I've shared some stories on my blog that were really scary for me to share.
Yeah. Because
there's some things that have happened to me in my life that were really scary.
Right.
And people, these things happen to other people too. But when you open yourself up and you let people know, you know, not that I'm a superstar by any stretch of the imagination, but people want to be able to identify with you.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I definitely think it's so important. I do think that, you know, for some people, the idea of being authentic and being themselves, I think not only is it scary, but they may not even know, because they've been doing stuff for other people for so long that I think it's a little bit of a journey sometimes to kind of really get into your jam, to like really get that courage, even if they just do it in small bites. But you're right, though. You know, it is speaking from the heart and saying what you want to say with respect and love. And if it's something that is a story that you share, someone needed to hear it. And what's funny is that when you think it's scary, or you're like, I don't know, these people are going to get it, they're going to judge me, I'm always surprised by how much is returned and they're sharing, because it's something that reminded them of themselves or their friends or their mother. I just, it's unbelievable. When I share my story about my daughter, I get so many responses of people who have, some kind of experience with cancer or losing their kid. And it's just, they needed to hear it. They needed to know there's someone else out there that has gone through the same thing. So I think it's really important to share your stories.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Because whenever or whatever you're going through, or the aftermath, you're like, I wonder if anybody else has gone through it.
Right.
And stories that I've shared, I've had girlfriends that I didn't tell, that I was close to. And afterwards, they were like, we need to go out to coffee because I need to tell you I had the same experience.
Wow.
And it's liberating.
Yeah, it really is. That connection is so important for yourself and for other people receiving, Well, Julie, this conversation, I hope it inspires women. I mean, this has been near and dear to my heart, this whole conversation. I could probably sit with you for 3 hours over wine and just keep going.
Exactly.
But we do have to wrap it up. So what is next for you, and how can people find out more about you, read your blog, your stories, all that stuff?
Okay, so what's next for me? I'm going to continue to blog. My goal and my wish is to do what I'm doing. That means the personal styling, influencing, which I work with brands to do different campaigns. But I plan to continue to do that. And what's also on my radar is putting together a book, an ebook for women over 40 who are considered curvaceous, and giving them tips on how to style themselves so they can look great. I'm really active on Instagram. I'm probably most active on that platform. And my Instagram account is Stylish Paradox. It's all one word. And I also have a blog, and that it's stylishparadox.com, www.stylishparadox.com. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah, awesome. I'll put those links in the description below this video so people can go straight to either the blog or to Instagram. And when you have the ebook ready, let me know so that we can share that with people, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to learn style tips from you. So that'll be amazing. So we'll put that on there when you have it. Okay. So
wonderful. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on, talking with me and with everybody else today. And, I just wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you so much, Jen. I wish the same for you. And thank you for having me. I so much appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
All right. Bye-bye.